Okay, morning once more. Welcome to the session. I want us to proceed and look at the operating systems. I think you can hear me. I've not had anyone complain. I want you to control your audios. This is Philip. You need order. Let's see who else has not muted. Some are joining. This is Hilary, Felix, Leslie. Okay. So let's hope you're going to have some good order. Any questions you have in whatever you're going to discuss today, just type them in the chat section. And then if you want to answer a question, you just raise your hand. I'll be able to control from my end. Okay, so I expect all of us to be active in this session. Do not wait for me to prompt you, because you know why you're here. You know why you're here. Okay. When you were closing, or almost the whole of last term, we were just revising and going through the computer system. We discussed a lot. We did a lot of research. You enjoyed the internet a lot, so I hope you use it very, very well. Looking at how you performed in the exam, there were some unsatisfactory issues, because it seems that you are really expecting two direct questions, very, very direct questions. And that is not what we agreed how the exam is going to be structured. Because I remember all through us revising, or all through us discussing and researching, we mentioned that the kind of questions that are going to be set are application questions. Yeah. But I am glad that most of us could attempt almost all the questions. But the other challenge with the paper is that we had a lot of marks. The paper had a lot of marks, had a lot of free marks, let's say, because you could find a question that requires 8 marks, and it's only asking you to list or state, okay, 4. So this means just a simple listing or a simple statement is going to give you 2 marks. And this, I think, is where most of you scored a lot of marks. Yeah. There was a question that was asking you to talk about some application packages, and then it required 10 of them, and the marks were 5. So you see here, that means one of them is half a mark. So the compensation and the awarding of the marks were even. Yeah. I must express some disappointment with not being able to handle some kind of questions which we went over and over and over and over again. Yeah. So that at least shows something totally different. Yeah. Muli, I'm going to remove you. You don't look like you're in this class. You are in, I'm going to remove you unless you give me a reason not to remove you. I want you in an upright position. I want you to be next to your book. This is not a holiday session. Right now we are in class. We are in 1K, you are in 1Q, we are in the lab. So I want you to concentrate and be like you're in class. I want you to put your profile picture back wakati umeketi kwa desk na uko na vitabu na kalamu. Otherwise, in a few minutes, you're not going to attend this class. Okay. Now, any question or anything you want us to discuss, or maybe before I take you to my direction, you can chat it down there. Maybe you want us to clarify a few things before we get into something else. Just feel free, just type it on the chat. I can see there were chats before I came in. I don't see any that is touching on me. It's fine. So I can give you a minute if you want us to look at a topic, or you want us to look at a question, just to clear up, building onto, I can see there's computer software from Emmanuel. Specifically, make it specific. Computer software is a bit wide in regards to what you guys had been looking at in the KLB. So you can be specific a bit. This is Lekishon, this is Valentine. Types of cables, what cables, internet cables, PS2 cables, VGA cables. You can try make it a little bit specific, okay? Oh, nice. I see what you guys you mean, okay. Once also you see the questions which are being posted in the chat section and you are willing to answer either one or two, just raise your hand up. We are going to have suggestions and then we are going to attempt to answer them together as a class, okay? I'm still waiting for that Muli person. Muli, I need you to behave with your profile photo, picture, sorry, live one, and how you're seated, and if you're ready with your items. Okay, so I see computer software there. Now, computer software is a very, very wide aspect in terms of as a topic, let's say, okay? Because when you look at computer softwares, there are so many kinds of computer softwares, and we are able to classify them in terms of different areas. So like you can begin with summarizing the notes the way we usually do. So this is like the mother of the computer software, and then we can have a drop down arrow. Then we can have categories. We can have another category here. Yeah. So we can down here. We have category down. Okay. So and then we have categories of computer softwares. The first one is system software. Okay, isn't it? You can unmute and then we can go together, we can move together, have the computer software, and then we have the application software. Okay, now these are like the primaries of the application, sorry, the computer softwares. Usually there's a third one or others. You can have, let's have another one in the middle here, but this is not, we are not going to expound on this a lot. This is called programming languages. I know we have been looking at programming languages in our own time, so we will dwell into this deeper later when we get into when you go to Form 3, when we'll be doing the pseudocodes, when we'll be doing the languages in terms of solving problems and coming up with systems like sample systems. So I'll expect us to really participate on that, okay? System softwares. We have categories of system softwares, or we have the types of system softwares, okay? So we can have a number, you can have a number, you can have a number of system softwares. I want you to give me examples. I want you to give me examples so that I can populate them. Which is the first example of system software? Yes, Omondi Avaksad.
Operating systems.
Omosh.
Operating systems.
Yes, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, good. Operating systems. And then the next one? Eugene.
Firmware.
Firmware. Okay. Lekishon.
Utility software.
Sorry.
Utility software. Utility software.
Utility software. We have Alvin Mutura.
Network software.
Network software. Very good. We have Alvin said. I'm looking for another hand. Brian Monzia.
Application software.
Under system softwares. I want what is under system software. Application software, already we have its category there. Yes.
Application utility.
What's an application utility?
It makes application programs to run more smoothly and efficiently.
What's the difference between a utility software and an application utility? What's the difference between an application software and an application utility? Sorry, utility software, sorry. Lekishon, you mentioned utility software. Not only Lekishon, we can have someone else also try to cement his answer, try to support his contribution. What is utility software? Shadrach, can't see it in full, but Shadrach, tell us something.
Application software is a type, or it is under utility software because
No, stop. We're talking about utility software. We want utility software so that we differentiate it with the application utility. Randy Myers.
Utility software,
Yes.
it performs routine services that makes the aspects of computing to go on smoothly, while application utility, it makes application programs to run more smoothly and efficiently.
So one is for the application softwares, others is for the system software, okay?
Yeah.
There is a utility software called the kernel. Have you heard about the kernel? Have you come across it? It is an example of it, okay? So you can mention that when we are looking at it. So we have this. We have maybe looked at application utility. We have looked at utility software. Now, what is network software as a system software? But network software can also stand on its own under the categories of the operating systems, but still the way we have it under the system software is still okay. So I want you guys to explain to me what is the network software and give me maybe examples. Yes, Malcolm Jakai.
Networking software is a type of software that facilitates communication between two or more computers.
Facilitates communication between two or more computers.
Yes.
Okay, that's network software. What you have used very key words, very key points, especially when you talk about the aspect of having two or more computers. For a network to be a network, there must be more than two devices. Specifically, they don't need to be computers. They don't need to be how do you call it? They don't need to be physical computers. They can be a computer and a printer. They can be a computer and a fax machine. They can be a computer with a scanner. As long as there are more than one device in the network, then the network software is going to coordinate that, okay? Do you have an example of a computer network? Of a network software? Examples of network softwares. Norman Kosgei? Norman Kosgei. So if I'll call your name twice and you don't unmute or you don't respond, I'm going to kick you out. Any example? You don't need to respond with the correct answer. You can give it a try. You can just affirm that you are in class. Mark Hacho?
I'm in class.
Who is that? Who has responded?
Norman.
Yes, Norman. Habari yako?
Zuri.
Yes. What do you think is an example of a network software?
Yes.
Sorry?
You don't have an idea.
You need to have an idea. Look it up and then you chat me down there or you raise your hand again. You're going to look at it, okay? Rodney Kahura?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Give me an example of a network software. First of all, do you understand the term network?
Yes.
Remind me what the network is.
It's like a connection between
Between? Hey, you have gotten... Okay, Matthew, Sydney, your hand is up. Tell us something.
I know an example, but I'm not sure what it does, such as the Oracle.
What is the Oracle?
I think it's a network, it's a software that I think connects the computer with other peripheral devices like a printer.
Okay. That is under the network software.
Yes.
Now. It's interesting. You've brought in another aspect. Now, Oracle, yes? Someone is saying something? Now, Oracle is not a network software, though it exists very, very well in a network environment, okay? Why I think you think it is a network software, because it's usually installed in a network database system, okay? So first of all, an Oracle is an application that is used to manage databases, okay? And databases being a very important aspect in a network environment, it has to be linked to the network software, okay? This being that a database, for it to be managed efficiently, or it to be managed and we enjoy all the facilities of a database, maybe security and consistency, we have to install it in a server. And the server basically supplies resources to other devices, okay? Now, when I talk about resources, I mean the items or anything that is held inside the server, okay? So for the ability of a client in this case is a device, a client or a workstation or any other connected device. So for the sake of a client to be able to access the resources in a database, the server is involved, okay? Or to access the resources that a server supplies, then a network software is also involved, okay? So the Oracle is installed in a network server, but it is not a network software. So it is a database software. So at least we have that clear, okay? For you to talk about network softwares, there are so many softwares which can be called network softwares if we'll go to the side of them being installed inside a network server, okay? So we can look at those categories in terms of maybe antiviruses, in terms of application systems, or just bespoke systems, customized kind of systems. Okay, sawa sawa, that looks okay. We are going to firmware. What is firmware? We have been talking about this firmware from term 1. So I expect you at least now to have, yes, Alvin Ishuga. Alvin, your hand was up first.
Firmware.
Yes.
Firmware is a silicon chip that contains programmed instructions from the manufacturer of the firmware.
We said you can't use a word to explain the word. Okay, a good try, good try, good try, good try. Someone else had their hand up. Randy Myers.
Firmware it is also a silicon chip which contains programmed instructions that cannot be easily modified.
It cannot be easily modified. Okay, just a minute. Let me open something down here. I don't know. Do that. Text. Okay. So we'll remove this one. So let's see what we talk about here. So you're talking about silicon chip. Both of you have talked about silicon chip. And then someone has mentioned programmed instructions. Someone else? Mark Hacho?
It's a silicon chip that contains programmed instructions from the manufacturer that cannot be easily modified.
So the manufacturer is involved. And then you talked about modification. Okay, just a minute. Someone else. Your hand has been up, Ibrahim.
Firmware is a permanent software programmed into a read-only memory.
We've added the aspect of the ROM. Let's try. Okay, now I'm impressed with how you have talked about the silicon chips and the programming of the instructions and the manufacturer being involved and the difficulties for modification. Now, I will prefer that as much as maybe you have had class. I want you to erase that thing you've done there. Now, as much as you have talked about the silicon chip and all the preliminary definitions, I want you to not always start with, when describing the firmware, as a silicon chip. Okay. Okay, who's that? Let me check. Mark. Umuro.
Yes.
Are you the one interfering with my screen?
Yes.
Mark. It's either
No.
one of you. Hmm? Okay, just a minute. I don't want to stop this to entertain that. Anyway, Sawa, just a minute. Okay, let's proceed with this. Now, anytime you're talking about the firmware, so make sure that you talk about the programming of the instructions first, the manufacture abilities, rights rather, as well as the difficulty of modifying it, and also the ROM aspect, okay? And then lastly, you talk about those devices being those facilities being installed into a silicon chip, okay? And then you can call it the firmware. Now, some people also call firmware like a tiny operating system. It is close to that because of the nature of the firmware holding instructions that the operating system basically holds, okay? So you can have that diagram because we want us to dwell in the operating system. I want us to dwell in the operating system. So as you draw it, let me move this one first. This is firmware, okay? So ROM. So as you draw it, so once you've done so, let's take firmware. Let's take firmware, and then we get into operating systems now. And then we get into operating systems now. I'm giving you just a minute. Once you're done, you can let me know. So let me go through the charts. We see what we have. Okay, Karane, I saw what you're talking about the databases, the Oracle being a databases. I think that's okay. Novell Netware, yes, is a network operating system. Bluetooth, I need you to explain what you're talking about. Assemblers, yes, a system softwares, but basically when it comes to programming languages, we have the utility software, we have the firmware. Okay, so Godwin's law here says firmware is a specific class of computer software that provides the low level control for device specific hardware. Yeah, it is not easily programmable. Yeah, that is why they're talking about it being read-only. Yeah. And the aspect after it has after the instructions are being installed in the silicon chip, then they are fixed onto another device with its mechanical ability. Michael Mukwini, what is AirDrop, Michael? Unmute.
For me, I'd just say it's like it's a network that facilitates transferring data from a device to another.
That is what you mean by AirDrop.
Just trying.
And now, is it a data transfer mechanism? Is it? Or how is it used, basically, so that we see if it qualifies as a network software? You see, some of this can be applications that you have used phone to phone or device to device via Bluetooth or via satellite or any other means of media.
I've used it that way, so that's why I was asking you. It can
Can
be
you
classified
compare it
under network software.
to Xender? What were you using when you were using the? Were you sharing files or were you sharing data?
Just files.
Files.
Yeah.
To how many devices?
One.
No. Remember the basic definition of a network. Yeah, so that means that it might not qualify. It might,
Okay.
yeah, it might not qualify. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that is done. If you guys are done, if you're done drawing, okay. So let me stop sharing that and introduce something else. Brian Manzier says, can we say that firmware contains instructions that cannot be easily modified? It's true. It's very difficult to modify them. It's next to impossible unless you have the manufacturer rights, and then you're able to dig into the programming mechanism. Then you're able to look at that. We have Ibrahim Hooker. So I want to handle these questions before you carry on. Ibrahim Hooker was asking about the serial cable and parallel cable. This question was in the exam, I remember. So, what's the difference between a serial cable and a parallel cable? Hands, I need hands to go up. The difference between a serial cable and a parallel cable. You can give your difference in terms of their usages. You can also give your difference in terms of how they look, their nature. Yes, Nick, I think your hand is up.
The differences of the two cables comes in their speed and the distance at which somebody will prefer to transfer, say, data and files. So if you will use one cable to transfer short distances and another for longer distances, and they will transfer the files at different speeds.
So can you specifically tell us about the serial cable in terms of their speed, in terms of their distance?
I'm not that conversant with the specific details, but I can look it up.
Yeah, what you have talked about are guidelines, are like the key things that do that make the difference, okay, or make the comparison. Okay, so I want you to tell me, because you have mentioned the speed, you have mentioned the distance. Yeah, what else can so you can look at that as we go to Hillary. Yes, Hillary, tell us about the serial cables and the parallel cable. You can pick one cable and yes, expound. Yes, parallel.
The parallel cables transfers information over short distances, but it is faster, and the serial cable is usually slower.
So the distance for the parallel is now short and faster.
Yes.
And when you say short distance, how short is the distance?
8 bits. 8 bits.
Distance.
Not sure.
Okay, you're breaking. Let's try Emmanuel Muturi. We see if he's also breaking. Yes, Emmanuel? Contribute to the parallel and the serial cable. Yes?
Parallel, it has 8 bits, 8 lines to transmit data, while serial only has 1. So which means parallel is faster than serial. Also that serial transfers data up to even 15 meters. So it can transfer data even for longer distances than parallel.
Yeah. Okay, so you have talked about the length of the serial cable and you've added the bit. Now, does the bit, Brian Mwanzia umeweka mkono chini, ni sawa. So Emmanuel, does the bit determine the speed? Is it the bit that determines the speed?
It's it being 8, it means it will transfer at a faster rate than only 1.
Okay. So that is why it is faster. And does the shortness or the longness of the cable determine the speed also? Let's go back to Hillary. Tuone kama sauti yake imerudi. Yes, Hillary.
The parallel cables having 8 lines, it therefore transfers information simultaneously. Hence,
What do you mean when you say
fastness,
simultaneously?
It has 8 conductors or 8 wires. So it transmits the information at once using all the 8 conductors.
Okay, explain to me what you mean when you say simultaneously. Simultaneously means all of them at the same time.
Yes.
Okay, and the serial one that has only 1 bit.
So the serial cable supports transmission of data 1 bit at a time.
1 bit at a time. So if we compare the 8 bits and the 1 bit, means it has, for it to achieve the 8 bits transfer, it has to do that 8 times, okay?
Yes.
Which is a little bit slower, as well as also it being able to travel a longer distance also reduces the speed as well, okay? Now, there's something called duplex, where a cable is supposed to send and receive at the same time. Which of these 2 cables is able to do that? Which of these cables is able to do that? Okay, you should that question, it should be able to be answered when you look at the characteristics of both the cables. In terms of the number of bits, in terms of the number of conductors, basically is what will make that possible, okay? Now, I'm seeing some questions here which were talked about or were set in the exam, like the colors of the ports of the cables, okay? And I think I've seen this twice from the same person. This is Aaron, okay? I need you to do research on that. I need you to do research on the colors of the ports so that we are able to make that very, very clear, okay? There usually a reason why those cables or those ports are in those kind of colors, okay? So once you're doing that research, look at the colors of the cable, just go to a physical device. If you're able to maybe do it on a library, well and good, okay? So once you do that, look at why is the cable colored, sorry, the port colored that, because we have types of cables. We have the serial cable, we have the parallel cable. And both these, for example, you can have a keyboard that has a serial cable and maybe, sorry, a parallel cable, a serial cable. We have the VGA also that has basically a parallel cable. We have a printer cable that basically has a parallel cable. We have a number of them. So I want you to to look at the numbers of the pins, which you sometimes call conductors or bits, also the colors, and why they are that number of pins and those colors, okay? Hillary, your hand is up. Are we still going to the tables? Yes, Hillary?
Sorry, I forgot to lower my hand.
Okay, it's okay. Okay, Matilu has done you a favor. He has mentioned the colors of the mouse. But for the keyboard, I was taking purple or pink. just for a small favor because of maybe the manufacturers of particular devices, but green was constant for the mouse. So I want you to tell me, why is it purple? Why is it green? Yeah, because there are other ports which are called audio jacks, like where you put your speaker, where you put your microphone and where you put your earphones. Okay, they seem to also be the same. So I want you to look at that. Phil Kathurima has done some there, but on a direct message. Phil, next time have it in the general in the public. So you say a serial cable transmit a single stream of data, while a parallel cable is able to transmit multiple streams of data, which is true. So at least that is going to inform. Joel Peter is saying, I think parallel. I don't know what he's saying when he says, I think parallel. Okay, so Godwin Zolo up here talked about the firmware. Yeah, I think almost the same had happened, and talked about it. Okay. Charles Mburu talks about the full duplex of a serial cable. Hence, the user is able to send and receive data simultaneously. Now, explain to me that when you'll be doing the research, because we see you say serial cable is 1 bit, and 1 bit can only send data unidirectional to one direction first. And then when the cable is not occupied is when now it is able to receive or transfer back. So I want you to get that clear. Which one does the full duplex? Why? Because of the pins, or because of the bits, or because of the distance, or because of the speed. So just take that the next time we have the class, or even when the class is almost ending. If you're able to do that, then we can summarize. Okay. So let's get into the work for the day. So there is that. So I'm sharing that screen. This is my Google Documents. It is talking about the operating system. I know you've had the notes for the operating system for a while now. Now I need to get that person. I really, really need to get that person. Rono. Okay, just a minute. Okay, just a minute. Okay, we are back. Had to handle something. Jamie, are you joining now? We talked about the full duplex, but we said you need to look at that. Okay. So let us share that thing again. The operating system. Now, we are going to start by the definition, because I know you have the notes, but here the notes basically are displaying what are displaying what you have in your books, but this is a little bit more detailed. It has a lot of examples as well as a number of other things, okay? So the first one talked about an operating system being an interface, yeah, between a computer and a hardware. An operating system is a software that performs all the basic tasks like management, memory management. So let me stop sharing this and get the screen. Let's share the whiteboard. Now, I was supposed to remove this one. So we have the draw, we have this. Yes, then we have that. So I want us to see what the operating system basically is. Okay. I think we have talked about this earlier. Here we have the users, and then we have so I'm going to do OS. Again here, we're going to do OS. And then up here, we have the users, the softwares, have the hardware. We have hardware. There we have again the hardware. Okay, good. Now this looks great. When an operating system comes into play, I think you have seen where I have put the operating system. I have put it in the middle of the user and the hardware, because once we have the three components of a computer system, once we have collected the liveware, we have collected the software, we've collected the hardware, this is now a complete computer. Gregory Songani, wewe chora tu vitu nachora, but I'll really hit you so hard, very, very hard, when you come back to school. Let me get your name. Allow me to pause this. Allow me to pause this so that I deal with this person. Okay, sawa. I have noted. So you guys have seen what he has drawn. The session is recorded. So when we'll be dealing with him, he will be feeling the joy. Sawa, sawa. Okay, now, sorry for interruption. The operating system comes in between the user and the hardware. So we have, let's draw this. No, let's pick this other one. This is the interface. The user needs to use hardware, but the operating system comes between the user and the hardware. So if we draw it fully like that, you see this section at the center here is not going to be complete unless the operating system comes into play, okay? So this is basically what we mean when we talk about an interface or an intermediary between the user and something else. Basically, the hardware or any other software or any other user, okay? Let's stop that and go back to the notes. So this means that an operating system is a software which performs all the basic tasks like file management, memory management, and all these are the functions of the operating systems or the roles of the operating systems as well. As much as you have them in the notes, they are identified here. So there is input, output, usually written as IO, which is still okay. So we have examples of operating systems. So here we say some popular operating systems have Linux, Windows operating systems, virtual machines, operating system 400. Now there are so many, some of them are in initials, some of them are listed here. So I want you to add to me, for me, maybe in the chat section, or we come back to class and give me the functions of, sorry, the sum of the types of operating systems. You can raise your hand so that you get the type of the operating system. The types of operating systems, we are not going to limit them only to the computers or the PCs. You can give me as many as you talk about. Macintosh, okay. Bill Rono, Macintosh is for what kind of devices? But just raise your hand, because I can see I'm not able to engage you in your chat. I'm not, yes, Carlos?
We have the Harmony operating system.
Harmony operating system.
It's for Huawei devices.
It's for Huawei devices. Harmony for Huawei, yeah. But I think there is a way Huawei is still under the Google Android.
They were banned.
Okay, I know those were some trade wars, but still okay. They are sawa. Or we'll talk about this deeper. Okay. Caleb Mumo.
The iOS for Apple.
iOS for Apple. Okay, that is basically a mobile one. We had the Umuro.
Color OS.
Sorry?
The color.
Color.
OS.
Color, KALA.
Yes.
How do you spell the color?
Devices.
KALA?
No, color, normal.
Okay. It is used for what devices? Who's the manufacturer?
Oppo.
Oppo. Okay. Sawa. But that I think should be a system utility, but we look onto it. We had Hillary. I can't get you, Hillary, very, very clearly. Let's try Eugene. Yes, Eugene.
We have Microsoft Windows.
Microsoft Windows. That is basically a PC operating system. It should be the basic one. This should be the among the first ones that you should be mentioning. Okay. Now, still on Microsoft Windows, we have versions of Microsoft Windows operating systems. Okay. Now, whenever there's a question in the exam that was asking you about the application softwares or the application packages, and once you have mentioned MS 2007 or MS 2003, then you have blanketed all like 10 or 13 application packages which could have qualified to be the correct answers in that single answer. So I want you to be very, very keen when talking about the grouping or the suite of some application packages as well as the versions of those particular packages. So today I'm asking about the versions of the Microsoft Windows operating system. So I want you to mention for me the version so that at least now when you're asked the types of operating systems, and then you mention MS Windows, that is correct. But when you will mention the other versions, yes, they are versions of operating systems, but they are still under the MS Windows. So that means you'll just be repeating. So which are the examples of the MS Windows operating system? Yes, Shadrach Pluto.
MS-DOS, Microsoft Office Disk Operating System.
Okay, explain to me what it does, how it works.
It was a menu operating system that used to operate in the 1990s, but now it's outdated.
Okay, what kind of graphical user interface is it constructed in?
It was a menu operating system. It was menu.
Okay, good. But initially it had the command line. Sindio? That's very impressive, very, very detailed answer. Another quick hand up for the versions. Amesema MS-DOS. Correct. Any other? That's only one so far under the Microsoft Windows, the versions. Ojunga, your hands I saw up now, I don't see it. Now, remember me always telling you in class, these kind of questions that I keep asking and are not in the notes or are not in your books, these are the kind of questions that are easily set. Because the way computer exam is supposed to be set, we don't pick the questions from the notes or from the book, the purple book and the brown book, never. So you really need to dig deep in the kind of questions I'm asking you are how the exam is supposed to be set, okay? So I want you to tell me the versions of the Microsoft Windows. MS-DOS is correct. That one I agree. And we have also looked at the characteristics of MS-DOS. We have seen that it is under it was menu driven in terms of GUI as well as the command line interface. So when a question will be set, and then I will ask you to give me the kind of GUIs where the MS-DOS was generated from, then, or how it was its nature, then if you don't mention these two, then you'll be in trouble. You'll not be able to score. And that is now how we are we are getting marks. We've gotten to the GUI, which has come about when you're discussing the versions of the operating system, which has come about when discussing the types of operating system, where we have found that MS Windows is one of them. So you see how the loop is moving and moving and moving. Okay. We can as well go deeper and ask you about the disadvantages of the kind of the GUIs which MS-DOS was using. So you must be able first to know the versions of the GUIs which MS-DOS were using, so that you are able to compare, and then you're able to give the advantages and the disadvantages. Carlos, I see your hand up. I hope you're giving us another version of MS Windows.
Versions of Microsoft Windows. We also have Microsoft Windows XP.
XP I think was for 2010, somewhere there. Another?
Microsoft Vista.
Vista, I can see Gordon's and Karanei and yeah, there's Windows 2000, there's Windows 10. Yeah. So now at least you have understood what we are talking about, okay? Michael Mukunyi, I want you to unmute yourself and explain to us what you mean by Xbox gaming as an operating system or as a version of MS Windows. Michael Makunyi, sorry.
I'm not so sure I can explain, but
just try.
My view is just like the Xbox gaming. It's like the Xbox operating system itself.
Yes.
Yeah, like examples, like for the Xbox 360, it's operating system.
So is it a version or is it manufactured by the Microsoft Windows?
Say yes as per my source.
Okay, we need to know. Anyone else with details about the Xbox? This is an online gaming, or it is like the PlayStation thing?
It's a console.
Oh, it's a console.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not good. I don't do computer gaming, so I might not be good at them. Okay, but when you explain to me, I'm able to understand. Okay. But that is not a Windows product. It's not a Microsoft product. So do not take Xbox gaming into the versions of that. So the versions which have been mentioned here is Windows 2000, that is true, Windows 10, Windows MS-DOS, Windows NT, Windows 98. Okay. Now, a small question. Why do you think the Windows has versions? Why do you think we have from NT? NT should be the most primary one, and the maybe Windows 97. And now we have like Windows 2016 or Windows 2016, Windows 10, Windows 8, the most recent ones being used. Why do you think we move from that? Why do you think we have versions for the operating systems? I need your hands up. Why do you think we have them? Why do you think we have them moving from the NT up to now? We have the Windows 16, Windows 7. Yes, Mr. Job.
With every new version of the operating system, they update the operating system and remove the applications that the users don't use frequently.
Okay, that should be very, very true. It's like an improvement. Malcolm?
To meet the customers' financial requirements.
Please explain that further.
When a new operating system is invented, the price increases. So the previous operating systems are cheaper than the new ones.
So if it is improved, then financially, you have mentioned that the price goes high, but the lower ones, the price goes low. The outdated ones a bit.
Yes.
But is that an advantage? Because I don't think someone will specifically go for a lower one. Okay, I need you to refresh that a bit. Blessing, you are done with doing the scribbling. Wewe pia nitakugonga. Yes, ebu ongea.
Sure, I have not scribbled anything. And I would like to mention, I don't know.
It's okay. From my side, I've seen you scribbling. Anyway, Sema.
Okay. Because of security issues,
Security issues as a priority. Yes. Yes. Any other? Okay. As you think, let's have Brian. Yes, Brian Monzia.
According to my suggestions, I think
yes,
the reason behind them having those different versions is because of the users' recommendations, suggestions, and also their experiences
that's
on the different applications.
That's very, very true. Because when a system is being developed, we usually look at the user. He's talked about the user specifications, but sometimes it's called usually the UR, the user requirements. Okay, so you have to ensure that whatever software or whatever operating system or whatever product or whatever technology product you're producing, usually you have to consider the user requirements, the user specifications, because you're providing a solution to the users. Okay, I want to end that. Shadrach, ebu sema ya mwisho. Yes, Shadrach.
Technological improvements in the hardware system.
Sorry, Kiprute, it's Shadrach Thamani. Alikuwa ameinua mkono. Shadrach Thamani. Kama aliinua. Okay, Kipruto endelea.
Say that technological improvements in the hardware system, like now we are about to leave the input devices like keyboard so that we can move to more advanced like speech recognition. So we need a new operating system that can operate with speech recognition.
Yeah, that can be compatible with all those facilities. That is very, very true. That is very, very true. Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm very, very impressed. So let's go back to the next, to the where we were. So I'm sharing it again. So at least now we have the versions. But again, we have another definition. Let's see what this says. Interface between the user, the computer hardware. It's the same thing. So what I had drawn earlier is what it is. So we have some functions of the operating system. And here we have more than one. Sorry, more than the ones that usually that you have. I don't know how many you have. So these are 9. Okay. So the first one is memory management, processor management, device management, security, control of a system. I know you have others which are in your book, which we do not have here. Yeah. And I want you to look at these ones very, very keenly so that we will be able to compare them with what we have in the notes. Okay. That is what I mean. Yeah. So when you're in a position to look at them, let's look at them. So let's look at the first one. And the first one takes us to some aspect in the topic number 2, where we were talking about the computer memory. We are talking about the storages. Okay. So memory management. So let me highlight what I'm talking about. Memory management, text color. Yeah, good to go. So here we are. Okay, so we have that. Now, memory management refers to the management of primary memory or main memory. Okay, so main memory, they say is a large array of words, of bytes. For program execution, it must be in the main memory. So let's look at the activities first. 1, keeping track of the primary memory. And what is the primary memory? Okay, so when we know what the primary memory is, then we will be able to know what is being tracked. Okay, so which parts of it are in use, by whom, for what time. Okay, so let me show you something. Let's go back. Let's stop sharing this and go back to the whiteboard. Okay, let me draw this. Now, we usually have, when you're going to buy a computer. And then we have specifications which we are supposed to look at. So we have the first one, we usually look at the hard disk capacity, we look at the speed of the processor, which is measured in hertz, and we look at the memory. Ndio. So zingine wanasema it's 4, you're told it's 4 GB RAM. Ndio. This is majorly what is existing in the market now. So for a 4 GB RAM, we need to have where memory spaces in terms of bytes, because we know the memory is arranged in bytes. So we start, okay, just a minute. So we start with this. We have 0, 0 bytes. So maybe let's have serial 1. This is just an example. It might not be accurate. Okay, and then we have. So if it's 4 GB and this is 0, 0, that, then we have 39999. Now, note that our total should be, how many bytes make 4 GB RAM? How many bytes?
1 billion.
1 billion. So I should have 1 billion memory slots. Sindio? I should have 1 billion memory slots. Okay. So I don't know if this is 1 billion. So just familiar for now, because I don't want to start counting, our time is running out. For example, now we are in this memory location. Let me draw this memory location, and then let's give it memory location, memory address location. Let's say 1072. Okay, this is the 1072th byte. Now, so once I have drawn this kind of thing, yeah. So this means that at this point we have a process which has been initiated. And this process, where the process instructions have been stored, are in the 1072th byte, okay? So as you have that at the back of your mind, let's stop sharing that and go back to the notes again and see what I mean. Keep track of the primary memory. What parts of it are in use, by whom, and what part are not in use, okay? Now, if we can add here by whom, and then we say, and for just a minute, and for how long, okay? Now, why I have added this section here, where I mean for how long, is because I want us to be able to tell that a process has been allocated memory resource, yeah, and memory being a resource, it needs to be managed. We just don't need to throw it out there. So if we have, maybe you're doing a printing job, or you're doing a typing job, or you're doing any other functions within the operating system. So all the instructions are going to fall on that particular section, which is this, okay? But as well, we can have this process occupying a particular size of, let's say it occupies 500 bytes. So this means the next section that is going to be free, that's Barnaby. Mi ninawaandika tu nakwambia nitawagonga. So here, so if it is plus 500, then we have 10, 5, sorry, 570, okay, 572. Okay, so basically that is where now the process feature starts and stops. Okay, so once maybe we will be able to determine which part of the memory is in use. This is what we mean. Which part of the memory is in use, for what purpose, for how long, by whom. So I hope you've understood how I've struggled to draw that, while the other people are struggling to derail us. So I need a question on this. I need a question on this. I need a question on that, so that even if we wind up, at least we have captured a number of things. I need a question on this section that I have highlighted. So, any question? Shadrach Pluto, yes.
Does the operating system also manage secondary storage memory?
Yes. Yes, it does. Any other? But why we have dwelled on the primary memory is because the ROM holds the instructions which the operating system uses, basically when doing the post procedure, the BIOS, in terms of the startup, the booting processes. That is why I have talked about that. Yes, Randy Myers.
Does the memory, does it also control allocation and release of memory as the user changes between applications?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, so it does that so that we don't have a resource. What do you call this term? A resource like not releasing the memory once the process is done. You understand? So once the process is done, and then the memory is supposed to be free. It's supposed to be released back. Okay. So that is basically what you mean. Okay. Another hand. Another hand. Okay, so now I don't want to start something else. I think our classes are almost ending. Yeah, so I want you to do that. I want you to do that and do the jobs that we talked about, so that we are able to look at the discussions next time. The kind of cables, the simultaneousness, the silicon chips things, as well as the what is this? The versions of operating systems, user tulisema, that's okay. So, okay. So once someone says something, so I'm going to call on someone randomly. This boy is called, so let me stop sharing this. This person is called Playboy Kati, or someone. Playboy. Unmute microphone yako. What's your name? What are your real names? Now that is 1K. 1K. I want you to have your names the way 1Q has their names, as well as Jamie Toy Kitu Makeup as G real words. Yeah. Let's have class discipline, whether online or not. Okay. So that it is easy for us to manage the class. Okay. So I want you to have your names and your admission number next to your names. So next to your names. Okay. I think that is okay, so that we are able to have a rest and come back for tomorrow. Okay, I hope the class has been okay. Caleb Longay. Caleb Longay.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm fine.
You have not been speaking.
Mhm.
Who is your
Just
class
been listening.
monitor? Who is your class prefect?
Hillary.
Hillary. Hillary.
Yes,
Am I-
Molly.
How are you?
I'm fine.
So have you guys received your marks?
We haven't.
Hmm?
We haven't yet received.
Which papers had been returned?
It's just said they will be received as we will receive our marks. All the papers at once.
Oh.
Yes.
But the way you performed the classes general as well as Caleb Mumo's classes, I think it was a little bit okay compared to some other classes that we also teach. Yeah. So at least that shows that you did not misuse the internet sessions and the research sessions.
Yes.
Caleb?
Yes.
How are you? How are you? Amepotea.
Yes, Mwalimu.
Yeah, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, so your class is doing generally well. How are the online classes taking you?
For me, they're going on well. I'm picking off where I might have not understood in class. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I need you to collect maybe data from your friends so that we see how they're responding. If maybe you have audio issues or you have clarity issues or you have different issues, so that we address them so that the next time we do not complain about anything. Okay.
All right, I'll do that. But I think one thing is most of us, we've been waiting for notes mostly from the chemistry lesson and also earlier mentioned by Mr. Ucheng for
Yeah,
geography.
I have the one from Mr. Ucheng. I'm going to post in the group. And yeah, and for the chemistry, I'll follow up.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, okay. Exam results, Bado, Mutulie. Okay. Karane, you want the notes? The notes will be, my notes, I will prefer that you just take the notes the way they are. If I draw, you draw. Because you have seen, I've just been drawing, so I've just been drawing from my head. Unless, I don't know, that one I am not able to share. The kind of notes that we have done are very, very tiny. Yeah, these are the only notes we have covered. Yeah, let us see. Nizi peke yake ndio tumeongelea. So if you want these ones, I can give you these ones. Mpaka mahali hapo tu. Yeah. So these are the only notes we have talked about. The others were just discussions. Okay. Okay, Hillary.
Yes.
Yeah, hao wengine wakilog out, wewe usilog out, nimekutumia chat, you can check on it. Umeangalia?
I haven't.
So I think the class is dismissed and you guys can go have a nice day. But Hillary, don't leave me. Hillary, umeona?
Am I supposed to check it on Gmail?
No. Chat me your number so that I can call you. You can private chat me.
Okay.
Hapa tu kwa Zoom.
Okay.
The others you can leave. I think the class is done.
Excuse me, Chair.
Yes.
Is it possible for you to send the meeting ID to the 1K people?
I know with the meeting ID, there's no meeting ID. Once you register, you just log in.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. But it's only this class that we're only having together. The others you have by yourself.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mwalimu.
Karibu. Blessing usiende.
I've sent my number on the 1Q.
Yeah. That's my profile. So I'm calling you right now.
Yes. Christmas.